I'm from Pakistan, and you know that Pakistan shares a border with Afghanistan. And the kind of Afghanistan I have known throughout my life is an unstable and an unsafe country. Whether you talk about today, when NATO forces are fighting terrorism in Afghanistan, or back in 1980s when Russians tried to invade Afghanistan. And even when there were no foreign military forces, the Taliban that we know, they also flared up the internal clashes in Afghanistan. That is basically between the two major communities that we know living in Afghanistan, the Pashtuns and Hazaras. So basically, the Sunnis and Shias. So this is the kind of Afghanistan I have known in my lifetime. But the book review that I am going to do today, the author is an Afghan American, and he has talked about the Afghanistan of 1970s, which was a peaceful, safe, and secure Afghanistan. And then he connects it and compares it with the Afghanistan of today. You can actually feel the excruciating pain, emotions, and disparity, in the way this story is written. And I don't mind in sharing this fact that I cried twice while reading this book. Let's start the book review. Welcome to another episode of FP Rapid Reviews. So, first thing that I want to clear here is that this story is not a true story, but it is based on true events. Okay, so the story is about two friends, Amir and Hassan. Amir is basically rich, and Hassan is his servant, and they both live in same house. Amir and Hassan both don't have their mothers. They both are good friends. Hassan does not go to school, but Amir somewhat teaches him, tells him stories. Actually, Amir himself is a writer, so he also sometimes writes some short stories and share with Hassan. And there is a great element of loyalty in Hassan towards Amir. Let me tell you here that my favorite character from this story is Hassan. I'm not going to share with you the exact reason behind. I'll strongly suggest you to read the book and get to know it yourself. I'm very much sure that if you will read this book, Hassan is going to be your favorite character too. With Amir, there is a problem that his father does not like him, and he is not like his father at all. One day, Amir decides that he has to do something to prove to his father that he is, worthy. There actually happens a kite competition in Kabul. Amir decides to take part in it. In the kite competition, basically, how you become a winner. The first thing is that your kite should be the last kite flying in the sky, and secondly, the last kite that you cut, you have to actually grab it also and bring it home. So the first part of winning, to have the last kite flying in the sky, that part Amir is able to achieve. But when it comes to the second part, collecting the kite, at that time a very tragic event happens in the stories. Then what actually happens that Hassan and Amir, their friendship fell apart, and Hassan and his father, they leave their home and go to their village. Time passes, and in the early 80s, to be specific, it talks about 1983, after Russian invasion, Amir, along his father, they decide to migrate to US because of the kind of condition and insecurity and safety issues in Kabul, Afghanistan. In America, the story continues for 15 years, and after 15 years, Amir turns into a successful writer. He is also a married man, gets married to an Afghan girl called Suraya Tahiri. Unfortunately, during those 15 years, his father passes away. One day, he gets a call from Peshawar, and it is Rahim Khan who calls him. Now, Rahim Khan is basically his father's friend and also his father's ex-business partner. He requests him to come to Peshawar. So he goes back to Peshawar, and there Rahim Khan tells him that Hassan has died. For me, the story was over when I got to know that Hassan has passed away. But that's not the whole story. Rahim Khan requests him to go to Kabul and do something for him, and after that he can go back to US. Now this is a very difficult situation for Amir because he has a settled life in US. He has his wife waiting there. So from there he will go all the way to Kabul to risk his life. But somehow the betrayal he does with his friend Hassan during childhood, so he has to pay for it by showing him the loyalty. I'm not going to tell you what exactly he has to do in Kabul, but he goes there. And when he decides to go to Kabul, now this is for me the best part of the story. He goes to the new Kabul that he had never seen before. The kind of streets, the conditions of the market, even his own old house, it is there, but the kind of condition it is, it's very painful. I'll also give you one hint, the kind of Kabul he goes to. There he meets this guy who is a beggar. He finds out that that beggar was actually a professor in some university in Kabul in good old days. So he is able to achieve and do what he is supposed to do in Kabul. He comes back, but he is severely physically injured. He stays in Pakistan, Islamabad for some time, gets recovered, and goes back to US. So in the end, I would like to admit the fact that I have very briefly shared the story with you because I really want you to read this book and appreciate the story and appreciate the way it is written. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to get notified for my future videos. Bye.